Mr. Contest Chair, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, my resources for information and inspiration. It's so great to see all of you today. Every Toastmasters meeting I attend, I manage to learn something new. And I hear the same thing from guests. At the end of our meetings, they say, the speakers here are so informative and inspirational. I know from experience that the speakers here, including myself, put a great deal of time and effort in preparing their speeches. And it shows in the high quality of presentations every week. Today, I would like to share with you some resources for information that I believe can help you and inspire you when you prepare your next speech. Before I do that, I want to know from all of you what, if anything, is an obstacle to you when you prepare your speech. And I want to do that because I want to be able to present my information to you in the most relevant and helpful way to you. The first obstacle that I believe is major, I think it's a major one. And many people join Toastmasters because they want help in overcoming a fear of public speaking. How many here believe that fear is their main obstacle when preparing speeches? I would like everyone to participate, please. Raise your hand up high so that I can count you. One. You can only move one once. The next obstacle I would like you to consider is coming up with interesting topics. And that's hard work, to come up with a topic that will captivate your audience's attention. How many think that's their main obstacle? Is content, interesting topics. By show of hands. Lastly, what about time? That's a major one for me. I can never seem to find enough time to prepare for my speeches to my satisfaction. How many consider time, or lack of it, their main obstacle when preparing a speech? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, I think some people voted twice, but that's all right. Thank you so much for that. That's really enabled me to prepare my information to you in the most relevant and helpful way possible. Let's start with fear. 29 of you said that was your main obstacle when preparing a speech. Right from Toastmasters International website, under video resources, is a short video called Managing Your Fear. According to this video, the common causes of fear when publicly speaking are failing, the fear of failing, and worrying what other people will think of you or your speech. Some of the tips to managing your fear discussed in this video include practicing, visualizing, slow, deep breathing. If fear is your main obstacle, I think the most powerful weapon you can have is to be prepared and to be confident in the work that you put into making your speech as interesting and thought-provoking as possible. That leads me to my next topic. If you're unsure about where to get really interesting speech topics and content, and 13 of you said that was your main obstacle to preparing your speech, I found a great resource in internet blogs. Blogs are websites that contain different authors' writings, their opinions and their observations. I like the blogs from Harvard Business Review and Inc.com, the best. These blogs are geared towards business professionals. I'm not a business professional, but I believe that when you communicate, all of us when we communicate, we are selling ourselves and trying to persuade others to accept or at least consider our words. In the Harvard Business Review, that's where I first read about research done to show that the most successful teams or groups use a specific ratio of communication in terms of the comments. Positive 3 to negative 1. The even higher performing teams or groups use more. 5 positive comments to 1 negative comment. In that case, more is like more. And I found this to be true when communicating with my coworkers and right here in Toastmasters. Practice, preparation, research. That takes a lot of time. Who has all that time? I know I don't have all that time to do that work. Between my full-time job, commuting to work, riding my bicycle, sometimes I do both, and shopping with my wife, I barely have enough time to eat and sleep. That's right, I spend a lot of time shopping with my wife. But I don't really enjoy shopping, but I like spending time with my wife, so we compromise. I drive her around to all the malls, and while she's busy shopping in the stores, I sit in the car reading and surfing the internet on my iPhone. That's where I find the time to visit social media websites such as LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook. Here I can skim through links to the blog articles that I like at my leisure, and I can do my speech research right in my car. Another resource I use while waiting for my wife in a car are podcasts. They're audio recordings of different types of speakers. And the speakers vary from authors, celebrities, musicians, politicians, scientists. My favorite podcast is from a comedian called Joe Rogan. And his podcasts typically last 2 to 3 hours. The great thing about his podcast is that they're not live. You can download them right to your MP3 player and listen to them while you're walking the dog, commuting to work, doing the laundry. You don't need to find the extra time. The extra time is right there in the margins of your daily life. What's great about this podcast is interesting content. In this podcast, I learned that there's a virus called toxoplasma, and it infects cats. And they infect mice in turn, and it makes the mice lose their fear of them. So the mice walk right up to the cat and say, "Hello, Mr. Cat, I love you," right before they're eaten. Another thing I learned about this is that there's an interesting treatment for rheumatoid arthritis sufferers, and it's called cannabis sativa, specific strain, and it's legal in various states. This gives me hope for my mother who suffers from rheumatoid arthritis, and that's why I find this podcast so helpful. Remember, using the time in the margins of your daily life already there to extract and examine all the useful information on the internet will put you in a better position to deliver great speeches. In the words of Zig Ziglar, who I first learned about from a speaker right here in Toastmasters, you can get everything in life you want if you just help enough other people get what they want. Mr. Contest Chair.